And this is Express News. I'm Gautam Roy, and let's get you quick fire updates, 100 of them from around the country and the world. Over 40 Indian nationals were killed in a building fire in Kuwait. India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Kirtivardan Singh, has reached Kuwait and he rushed to the hospital to ascertain the well-being of the injured Indians. Before leaving for Kuwait, the minister said that DNA tests are being conducted to identify the victims. He added that an Indian Air Force plane has been put on standby to bring their mortal remains back to India. Earlier, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting to review the situation in Kuwait. Prime Minister Modi announced an ex gratia of $1,400 each for the families of the deceased. Non-resident Kerala's Affairs Secretary K. Vasuki has informed that 15 remains have been officially identified as those of people from India's southern state of Kerala. She added that the state administration is in touch with the centre's External Affairs Ministry for further updates. The Kerala government, in a special meeting of the state cabinet over the Kuwait tragedy, has decided that the state government will extend 5 lakh rupees as ex gratia for the deceased Malayalis. Besides 1 lakh financial assistance, 1 lakh rupees of financial assistance will also be given to the injured. Kerala's health minister will travel to Kuwait to ensure the earliest repatriation of the mortal remains of the deceased to the state. Rajnath Singh has assumed office once again as India's defence minister after taking charge. Singh said that the country will further strengthen domestic defence manufacturing and boost exports to unprecedented heights. Rajnath Singh added India's armed forces have been doing commendable work in maintaining the nation's external security under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. Dharmendra Pradhan has resumed charge of India's Education Ministry. Pradhan served as Education and Skill and Entrepreneurship Development Minister in the Government of India from 2021 to 2024. Telangana BJP Chief and Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy has taken charge as Coal and Mines Minister in the presence of Union Minister Prahlad Joshi. Reddy performed special prayers before reaching his office. Bandi Sanjay has taken charge as the Minister of State for Home Affairs in the North Block Office of the Ministry of Home Affairs. India's Minister of State for Defence, Sanjay Seth, laid a reed at the National War Memorial. He paid homage to the fallen heroes before taking charge of his new portfolio. BJP leader Pema Khandu took oath as Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh for a third consecutive term on Thursday. Meanwhile, Chauna Mean has been sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh. The Supreme Court has said that the scorecards of 1,563 students or candidates granted compensatory marks in the annual NEET UG 2024 entrance exam for admission to undergraduate medical courses will stand cancelled. It further directed that these students can sit for a retest likely to be held on the 23rd of this month. Meanwhile, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan accepted the verdict as well. He said that a court-recommended model was adopted for around 1,560 students and there is no proof of any paper leak yet. The first session of Parliament after India's general election will be held from the 24th of this month to the 3rd of July. During the first 3 days of the session, the newly elected leaders will take their oaths, followed by the election of the Speaker of the House. The first session of the 18th Lok Sabha will begin on the 24th of June amid water shortage in the national capital. Delhi Water Minister Atishi inspected the water distribution network near Akshardham with officials concerned on Thursday. Atishi said senior officers have been ordered to check all pipelines for any leakage and take steps to stop any wastage of water. She added that Jal Board staff will be conducting patrolling with revenue officers as well. Tight police security and massive search operations continue in the Kota top area of Gando in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district. Yesterday, an exchange of fire had taken place between terrorists and security forces in which a police jawan was injured. Indian Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi addressed Indian Navy sailors posted in Nausena Bhavan and units and around the national capital. The Chief of Naval Staff reiterated his vision and commitment to ensure a combat-ready, credible, cohesive and future-ready Indian Navy. On to business now. And Indian benchmark indices ended higher for the third straight session on the 13th of June. The Sensex was up 0.27% or 76,810.90. The Nifty 50 index was also up 0.33% at 23,398.90. The Indian rupee or INR ended flat at 83.54 per dollar US dollar on Thursday. Gold prices saw a slight increase on Thursday. Gold was trading at 73,155 rupees per 10 grams. And silver was then trading at 88,370 per kg. Oil prices fell on Thursday. Brent oil futures fell 0.5% to $82.24 US per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 0.5% to $77.76, that is US dollars per barrel. The ruble, Russian ruble, fell to one-month low against the US dollar on the interbank market on Thursday amid very low liquidity in pre-market trading after new US sanctions on Russia forced the Moscow exchange to halt dollar and euro trading. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq posted record closing highs after consumer prices data came in softer than expected. The S&P 500 gained 0.85% to end at 5,421.14 points, while the Nasdaq Composite rose 1.54% to 17,609.99. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced its interest rate decision after a two-day Federal Open Market Committee meeting. It left the benchmark interest rates unchanged at 5.25 to 5.5% for the seventh straight meeting. Tesla shareholders are voting to approve a $56 billion pay package for Elon Musk and to move the electric vehicle maker's legal home to the U.S. state of Texas. The result will be announced at a meeting at Tesla's headquarters. And in some world updates, leaders from the group of 7 major democracies have arrived in Italy as the annual G7 summit is to get underway on Thursday. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni officially kicked off the G7 summit in Borgo Egnazia with the Ukraine and Gaza crisis on top of the agenda. Discussions will also include the ongoing unrest in West Asia, migration and artificial intelligence. The summit will wrap up on the 15th of June. The group of 7 comprises the United States, Japan, Canada, Germany, France, Italy and Britain. The European Union is also participating in all discussions. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also left Delhi for the G7 summit. Apart from participating in the outreach session of the summit, the Prime Minister will hold bilateral meetings with his Italian counterpart Giorgia Meloni and other world leaders. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra has said that during Prime Minister Modi's Italian visit, the issue of cross-border terrorism will be raised at the highest level in the G7 meeting. India on Thursday sent a flight carrying around 19 tons of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief supplies to Papua New Guinea. The aid comprises 13 tons of disaster relief material, including temporary shelters, water tanks, hygiene kits, ready-to-eat meals, and 6 tons of emergency use medicines and medical equipment. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met with Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov ahead of a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contract Group in Belgium. The meeting comes as G7 leaders are looking to double down on support for Ukraine. NATO defense ministers are in Belgium's capital Brussels on Thursday and on Friday for talks to agree on a training support mission for Ukraine as well as long-term financial commitments. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said NATO members are set to take tougher action against Russian spies across the alliance in response to a campaign of hostile activities by Moscow. Russia's defense ministry has said Russia practices the electronic launch of missiles as part of a second stage of drills on how to deploy tactical nuclear weapons. The personnel carried out sea trips to the designated patrol area. A Russian Navy frigate and a nuclear-powered submarine churned into Havana harbor. Cuban officials received the Russian counterparts and said such visits were standard practice by naval units from countries friendly to Havana. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that the economic and trade exchanges between China and Russia should not be interfered with or undermined as the US expanded sanctions against Moscow. A brawl broke out in Italy's parliament on Wednesday, leading to one of the lawmakers apparently getting injured during a discussion on a controversial government bill concerning local autonomies. Clashes broke out between police and demonstrators in Armenia after Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said a peace treaty with Azerbaijan was close to completion. Leftist organizations and unions in Ecuador protested in the capital Quito on Wednesday against policies of President Daniel Noboa, accusing his administration of increasing the cost of living and pushing households into poverty. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees on Thursday released a report saying the number of people forcibly displaced worldwide stands at a record 117.3 million as of the end of last year. Argentina's Senate has passed President Javier Milei's economic reform plans, which aim to boost investment by privatizing state entities and providing incentives for businesses. Flames continued to rage at an oil refinery in Iraq on Thursday after a massive fire broke out the previous day. Preliminary assessments show the fire started in the refinery's liquid asphalt warehouse. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan held bilateral talks in Madrid on Thursday as part of the 8th Spain-Turkey high-level meeting. The leaders are set to sign a series of agreements. Earlier on Wednesday, the Turkish leader met with Spain's King, Philippe. China and New Zealand signed agreements on trade and climate change on Thursday. Chinese Premier Li Qiang concluded his day with an official dinner. Li's trip in the highest level Chinese visit to New Zealand in 7 years. The Kremlin said nobody should doubt Russia's right to develop closer ties with North Korea, saying the potential for the two countries' relationship was very deep. Putin's visit to North Korea is expected to take place in just a few days. Haiti's Prime Minister Gary Conille announced his new Council of Ministers. Conille promised to rebuild the country and work to improve the living conditions of Haitians. Let's now get you some weather updates. The Indian Met Department has said that heat wave to severe heat wave conditions are likely to continue over parts of northwestern and eastern India over the next 4 to 5 days. The IMD has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall over sub-Himalayan West Bengal, Sikkim and northeastern India during the next 4 to 5 days as well. Temperatures are hitting record highs in parts of north and central China this week, while a severe drought in the east is threatening crops. Torrential rains continue to lash many parts of Spain as well. Streets in Murcia city were flooded while drivers struggled to navigate through heavy rain and gusts of wind. Massive fires in Brazil's Pantanal wetlands have intensified, raising concerns among local residents of a sharp increase in wildfires this year. Emergency rescue operations were underway on Wednesday after flooding caused by heavy rain overwhelmed south-central Chile. According to authorities, at least 400 families have been evacuated from their homes in central and southern Chile due to an intertropical cyclone. Greece has temporarily shut the ancient Acropolis tourist site during the day, suspended schools and stationed medics across Athens as it's facing the first heat wave of the summer. A massive fire broke out in the city of Sparks in the U.S. state of Nevada. According to local authorities, the wildfire is now 50% under control. Record rainfall and flooding inundated southeastern Florida on Wednesday, creating hazardous driving conditions and delaying hundreds of flights. More rain is expected. Ahead of the International Day of Yoga on the 21st of this month, special yoga sessions and camps are being organized across India. Yoga gurus are teaching yogasans and pranayam to disciples during these sessions. Norwegian ambassador to India, Mary Ellen Stenner, has termed yoga as India's greatest gift to the world in giving inner peace and holistic health to the entire population. A panel discussion titled Yoga with Ayush Empowering Women's Health was organized in Dubai. The discussion underscored yoga's importance for empowering women, particularly in managing health challenges during significant life stages. The Indian mission in Dubai is set to welcome around 4,000 people for a rejuvenating yoga session at the Dubai World Trade Center on Saturday. In Sri Lanka, Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center is observing the 10th International Day of Yoga with a 10-day-long Yoga Mahotsav. The event has been supported by an Indian organization, Sadgamaya Foundation, and Mayurpati Sri Bhatrakali Temple in Colombo. Researchers in Atlantic Canada have found the Quest of the eastern coast of Canada. The Quest was a ship on which renowned polar explorer Ernest Shackleton died in 1922. A new airline offering a dog-first experience is expanding its air network in addition to its current destinations of New York, Los Angeles and London. Bark Air said it will now offer domestic and international services to 5 new destinations, that's Paris, Chicago, San Francisco, Phoenix and Miami, which will lift off this October. Japan's cat owners are turning to artificial intelligence to cut down on the guesswork of when it is necessary to embark on a stressful trip to the veterinarian. A Japanese startup has developed Cat's Me, an AI-driven smartphone application that can tell when a cat is feeling pain with 95% accuracy. The AI has been trained on 6,000 pictures of cats. A 12-week-old Pekingese puppy was rescued in the U.S. state of Colorado after being trapped for 3 hours in a townhouse vent. Ahead of Eid al-Adha, Algerians are making their annual visit to 85-year-old blacksmith Abdurrahman Doufi to buy his knives. Doufi is believed to be one of the last authentic knife makers in Algeria. Japanese electronic car maker Aspark claims its new Aspark Owl SP600 is the world's fastest electric vehicle after it hit a speed of 438.73 km per hour during a test at a German facility. A 10.2-carat Eden Rose Pink diamond fetched $13.3 million during a Christie's magnificent jewel sale in New York. It exceeded its initial estimate of 9 to 12 million USD. Scrolling words and phrases were displayed in bright LED lights at New York's Guggenheim Museum as part of artist Jenny Holzer's Light Line installation. The trailer for Indian action thriller Kill, produced by Karan Johar starring debutant Lakshya, has been released. Kill will release in theatres on the 5th of next month. Classic Hindi war drama film Border has completed 27 years, and on the occasion, actor Sunny Deol has announced a sequel to the film titled Border 2. Indian actor Alia Bhatt is set to launch her first children's picture book under her kids' wear brand Edamama on the 16th of June in Mumbai. US rock band REM is reuniting for its first interview as a group in 30 years. The interview will air on Thursday. US singer Normani has shared the tracklist of her debut studio album titled Dopamine. The former Fifth Harmony singer is due to release the long-awaited record on Friday. The famed Apollo Theatre in New York honored singers Kenneth Babyface Edmonds and Usher with the Legacy Award and the Icon Award during its 90th Spring Gala. Cast and creators of the Regency-era romance series Bridgerton came together in London to launch the second part of the show's third season. The final 4 episodes will start streaming globally on Thursday. Historical drama Firebrand starring Jude Law and Alicia Vikander is set to be released in theatres on the 14th of June. Fans of US pop star Taylor Swift have descended on the British city of Liverpool to get their merchandise for her upcoming Eras tour in the city starting Thursday. Fans gathered to meet Jin, the oldest member of the Korean pop phenomenon BTS, after he was discharged from South Korea's army after 18 months of duty. Sports Now in India has confirmed its Super 8 spot, registering a 7-wicket win over the United States at the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in New York on Wednesday. West Indies sealed qualification into the Super 8 stage, defeating New Zealand by 13 runs in Group C on Thursday as well. Back-to-back defeats against Afghanistan and West Indies have put New Zealand on the brink of an early exit from the T20 World Cup. England will look to revive their fast-sinking title defence with a win over inexperienced but capable Oman in their T20 World Cup Group B match on Friday. The Spanish Tennis Federation on Wednesday said that Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz will play doubles together for Spain in the upcoming Paris Olympics starting next month. Argentina star soccer player Lionel Messi on Wednesday said that he intends to finish his career with Inter Miami but has no plans to retire just yet. A crowd of mostly young fans gave a warm welcome on Wednesday to Belgium's national team as they arrived in Stuttgart in southwestern Germany for Euro 2024. Serie A club Juventus said on Wednesday that they have appointed Thiago Motta as their new manager to replace Massimiliano Allegri. The 17th edition of the European Championship, being hosted by Germany, will begin on Friday night with the first match between Germany and Scotland. An NBA legend, Jerry West, whose silhouette was the inspiration for the National Basketball Association's logo, passed away at the age of 86. And that's all we have for the moment in this edition of Express News, but do stay tuned to DD India for all the latest from the country and the world. Thanks for watching.